Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to my guest. Today we have back for an encore appearance, Beth Gallaway, and she's the director over at the Grafton Public Library. Welcome back, Beth.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
A lot of us are wondering, when is that new Grafton Library going to, when are they going to start building it, rebuilding it?
Soon, I promise. So I followed the construction schedule, which was move out by April so that they can break ground in May. And we do an extreme summer reading program in Grafton with over 100 programs. So we really needed to be settled before we launched into summer reading. So, we followed the schedule and we moved out. I am no expert in construction, so I didn't realize how long the approval process really takes. Yeah. So we've not only got Mass Board of Library Commissioners who gave us this $7.4 million grant, double-checking us every step of the way, but there's a whole process. So you go to Planning Board, and they tell you what they need, and then you go back, and a month later, you bring your draft to their meeting, and they give you some feedback, and then you go back and revise or edit as needed, and then you come back and they approve it. But they also need approvals from Conservation Commission, from Historic District, because we're in a historic district, and everybody has feedback and commentary, as well as we're keeping up to date with code. So just recently we had the architect say, I missed this one thing. We actually do need an exit door here in this teen space to go out toward Upton Street, right across from the inn, for emergency egress. So that means we have to move a booth and figure out a different place to put it. So now we've got to revise the design drawings again. So until design drawings are final, we can't, and MBLC, so those just get sent to MBLC for final approval. Then we can finish up with the construction documents, which is the many, many blueprints and layouts of here's where the concrete gets poured, here's where the plumbing goes, here's where the HVAC goes, all of that. And some of these approvals from the boards in town are dependent on each other. So first we had to go to planning, and then if they approve it, then we can go to Conservation Commission.
But
because
we are
bordering
but I know the elevator they had put in before, I heard that's not working out. What happened? So
it wasn't an elevator, and it really, I came in just as that plan had been started. So Grafton has applied for this grant several times. In the 30 years the Massachusetts Public Library Construction Grant has been offered, and every time they won the award, but the town didn't vote for the money. So the last time around in 2010, 2011, they got approved, the town voted the money down, but it was very clear that because we had such severe code violations for equal access for people with disabilities, we had to at least do that. So they spent about $500,000 to turn a staff area into an accessible washroom, and to put a lift into the library, an elevator lift with a 750-pound limit. So not for freight, not for book carts, not just for fun, but just a lift. And a lift can only go up so high. And the unique thing about this 1927 building is it's actually 4 stories. It doesn't look like it, but if you walk in from the common, you're on the main level with the adult area, right? And then you go down a flight of stairs to to a stack level, and then down a further flight of stairs to the children's room. But also from the main level, there's a mezzanine. So they put in this lula for elevators that could only make 3 stops because legally, or however they're designed, they can only go up 3 stories, and we had 4. So from the beginning, this $500,000 Band-Aid project to meet code only went up to that main level. It did not go up to the 3rd floor mezzanine where we housed a third of the collection for adults.
Isn't that where there's those little tables that are up high, like at a cafe?
Yeah, we did a fundraiser for my friends to do that. So it's a nice space. It's just a wheelchair can't get up there. And even in the main level stacks, we did rearrange the room. We lost space because we had to make sure a chair could navigate from that lift to the other side of the room where the accessible washroom got placed, because that's where the plumbing was.
I like that new
bathroom.
So
that saved money. I love the mosaic tile in there. That's
when
I do tours, I always show it off.
That's not going to change, is it?
That part of the building will be gone. Gone. Yeah, so we spent this $500,000 knowing it was a Band-Aid project just to get us up to code. And we still had to get variances, because even with the lift bringing you up to the main level, down to the children's room, in a chair, again, you can't reach the top of the bookshelves in the children's room. And in the main level stacks, those are structural and built in and original from 1927. So you might be able to just barely wheel a chair down, but you can't turn, and you still can't reach the books.
Right.
And code requires 43 inches. So we couldn't even do a renovation that would allow us to stretch the stacks out, because they're holding up the floor and the walls and the ceiling. So the plan for the new building is they're demolishing the stacks, which is that box on the back, which looks like an addition but is original. And then, yes, those repairs that we just made, which is the lift and that washroom, will be demolished so that we can build out about 100 feet and make it a 2-level building.
Huh.
Instead of these weird 4 levels. And the design, it's really good use of space. It's about 90% usable space. So right now, if you come into the Grafton Library, I mean, we've moved everything out at this point. A lot of it's
I know where you are now. I found you.
Yeah, St. Andrews, the old St. Andrews building. So if you go in, it's pretty empty. But it just didn't work for what we needed anymore. So we'll now have 2 levels. And the architect really designed a space that has great visibility.
Yeah.
So I'm short, but I can see over all of these stacks because they're not going to be 8 feet high like we have now. Yeah, so that allows us to have fewer staff because we can have the visual control of the area.
Sure.
We don't need to have staff stationed to catch every nook and cranny because we can just stand up and look.
But you would think that it's July, it's summer, they'd be over there working on this before it gets...
I know, but they have to finish all the approvals, and we can't control when all these
found
different
this
boards
beautiful
meet.
article about with Beth Gallaway is in here, and you can return your books. It's over where the old St. Andrew's Church was, off of 140 in North Grafton.
Yeah, 53 North Main Street.
Yeah, and that's where the library is now. And this was in the Grafton News, I think. It's Grafton News.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, and this was back in, I think this was in May.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of Beth putting something into, you can return books in their book bin.
Ripping off the tape because we had blocked it while we were closed for a few weeks.
So you can bring your books back there. And they have made it so that, I remember going in when it was a church, and in the big room over on the left, it's the children's, right?
Yep.
Then in the lobby, if you bring back a book, if you're, rather than use the bin outside, they've got like a place you can just toss it in, right? And then the grown-ups are over to the right.
In Sanctuary. Yeah.
And somebody said, I can't remember the gals that works there, somebody said, how's it feel to be up on the pulpit? Because you got, from the old church, you got to step up, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, that wouldn't have dawned on me.
We did disassemble, sadly, the PA system, so nobody can come in and make a lunchtime speech.
Show us the picture. She brought some gorgeous.
Yeah. I do. Your original question was when is the groundbreaking happening? So we do still have to get through a few approvals, but we are hoping to have those construction documents done by the end of this month, July.
Good. I keep driving by and nothing's going on.
But then legally, again, we have this grant, right? So we have to follow all these assurances, and one of them is we follow legal procurement. So we have to go out to bid. 21 days minimum, probably closer to 30. We have to find a contractor.
You got that,
subcontractors.
Though.
No, this is what we need to do still. So once your design documents are done, then you can put them online and go out to bid. Because the contractors need to look at all those documents.
Are we looking at a couple of years here?
No. No. So 30 days to go out to bid. That brings us to end of August.
Yeah.
And then when we pick somebody, the low bidder, then they have to have a meeting and say, okay, here's the team. Let's mobilize and get this team together.
Are you going to be present for all
Have
this?
A meeting September.
You're going to be with them, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm on the building committee as a voting member.
It must be so frustrating for you and your staff.
It's not. I mean, we've been waiting 30 years. So what's another 3 months? I mean,
Beth, if anybody has any questions about the new Grafton Library coming, how can they reach you?
You can email me at Gallaway B, that's all A's, Gallaway, B for Beth, at graftonlibrary.org, or give a call over to 508-839-4649. Hit number 5. It's extension 1105, and you'll get right to my desk.
Now let's show them what's going to happen here. I'll help you hold them up.
All right.
We're going to zero in on this. Oh, are you going to zero in just where they are, Paul? Okay. Okay. What are those?
All right. So this is a southeast elevation. This is if you were walking up North Street, you know how you do when you're trick-or-treating, coming up North Street, heading toward the Common, and you would see this side of the building. So the columns here are the current front entrance.
Yeah.
That's not changing pending a waiver from Massachusetts Equal Architectural Access Board. So because we want to keep this open and not add a ramp, we do have to ask them to keep in mind the cost to do so, that it is a historic district, and we are providing an accessible entrance elsewhere so that we can leave the historic front of the building exactly as is. So you'll round the corner, and the part that's sticking out with the red brick and the 2 sets of 3 windows, that's the first part of the addition. And I believe we're looking at a corner of the children's room, and then upstairs would be a corner of the adult area. And then it changes from brick to concrete siding. So this is a cost-saving measure.
What color will the concrete be?
It's going to be somewhere between a beige and a beigey brown.
Okay. At least it's not green. I've seen another local library go green.
You know, I love that coppery green color, and I think that would look really pretty slick. But most of the buildings on the common are a combination of brick and siding, and some are gray siding, some are white. Apple Tree Arts is sailcloth colored, which is this really nice yellow. But I think we're looking at more of a brown to go with the limestone that's on the original part of the building, and we'll be working really hard to color match. And historic district
steeple is going to stay there, right?
Steeple, the cupola, the cupola, and that's going to stay. And that's clapboard and copper, I believe.
Okay, now.
So we've got that siding. And then again, this is a cost-saving measure. So it might look really beautiful and fit the historic district to have all brick. But brick is very expensive to put in. And then you have to maintain it about every 70 years to repoint it. The siding will have to be checked and repainted every 10 to 15 years. It should hold up pretty well.
So you're bringing it down from three floors to two.
To 2 floors, yeah. And I think this is the children's space. And then we turn a corner and we've got a program space. We have
How about like little quiet rooms? I heard that.
Sure. There's 2 for tutoring, 1 in the youth, 2 in the youth area, 1 for teen, 1 for kids, and then I believe upstairs we have a 12-seat meeting space, a 6-seat meeting space, and then a 4-seat room that has chairs and a coffee table as opposed to a table with like whiteboards and Wi-Fi and all of that. Yeah. So it'll be great for you need a job interview, custody, arrangements, just quiet study, group study, that kind of thing. We're hoping groups will use it to meet, and we'll have meeting room software online before we open so they can
We're talking with Beth Gallaway, and she is the director of the Grafton Library, which is getting a big redo. We're going to see another picture right now.
This is kind of coming over, so we're rotating around the building from kind of counterclockwise. These are the architect drawings that they sent me with. So usually I go from the other way, but so this is the new entrance, and you see it kind of mirrors, we could use the term bookend even. So the furthest away from us, over to the left, is the old part of the building.
So where's the new entrance if you're coming up 140? Where is it?
So you'll turn kind of before you get to the inn and make a left if you're coming up 40 from Upton. Yeah. Right? And there'll be a big parking lot that kind of goes up and away from the building, but the entrance will be kind of close to where the parking lot entrance is.
All on the first floor?
No. Okay, all on first. So this is our accessible entrance. You'll come in, there's a little lobby, there's a friend's cafe with vending and
a cafe?
Books for sale. Not a staffed cafe. Yeah. Keurig where you'll put your self-service. Keurig where you'll put your money in. Vending machine where you might be able to buy a library-branded pencil in case you need a new pencil.
So so instead of going up to buy the books downstairs, you'll have a special area.
Yeah,
to go
right front and center, right as you come in. It's not going to be unfortunately as extensive as what they had in the past. They had space for 10,000 books.
I saw them,
which was amazing. And they brought in great money. But what we'll do is we're providing them a space to display the stuff that's really nice, a storage place so that we can continue to take donations, which we are not taking donations right now. Sorry, hold on to them. And then they'll pull them out periodically and move them into the meeting room.
Now, what's this one?
So this, I think, is kind of just a better view of that new accessible entrance. So again, it kind of mirrors. We've got the arches, we've got the columns. The windows are the sort of Palladium style, but the important thing to notice, and what we're trying to do to make the historic district happy, is that the addition looks a little more plain. Yeah. It's not as ornate, so that you can clearly tell this is the old part and this section reads.
No, I like that, keeping that. Are you going to keep the steeple?
The cupola is staying.
The cupola is okay, because that's a big part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure about the chimney. I think that the chimney is staying, but it does need some repointing and some work. We are changing the furnace and whatnot.
Are you going to get more? You have a lot of computers, but are you going to get any more?
So one of the things we did to save on space was we did not create a computer lab. And that's kind of a trend in libraries to have those spaces. So instead, we're doing a different model. We're going to have just a few computers available for sit-down, and then we're going to provide laptops.
My God.
In the adult area, you'll use your card and check them out from a staging locker. They have this in Arlington, which is where I'm living right now. Yeah. But you scan your card, the locker opens. We know that it's checked out to you. We know where the laptop is in the building. Yeah. You sign in, and it'll give you an hour, and then you go back and open the locker again and plug it in and return it. So it's in-house use laptop borrowing.
Beth, again, how can they reach you?
Gallaway B, Gallaway B for Beth, at graftonlibrary.org, or 508-839-4649. Press 5 or dial extension 1105.
Beth, before you became our director up at the Grafton Library, where were you?
I worked as the assistant director at the Haverhill Public Library in the Merrimack Valley.
Oh, my God.
You know what, though? So I came to Grafton for my interview and went, wow. So Grafton and Haverhill are geographically almost the same size, but Grafton has 66% green space.
Green?
Green space. So preserved land, whether that's state, local, or the Grafton Land Trust. But it has a common with a gazebo.
Yeah.
Haverhill does. It's on the commuter rail, like Haverhill.
Yeah.
Population is about a third of the size out here in Grafton as it was in Haverhill. And it's a very different and diverse population. The biggest thing is that working in a more urban setting, we gave people what they needed, and they were thankful. But in Grafton, our patrons are just grateful. And it's a really rewarding
What about the
place
parking?
to work.
Are they going to make a bigger area?
Oh, I wish, yeah.
I like that.
In the new library, I think we're going to have over 80 spaces. So there's a state mandate for that, depending on the square footage of the
Are you
building.
going to use that parking lot that's over kind of like across from it? You know, is that just for the inn or whatever?
Yeah, so that's for the inn. But what we're doing, so our building is extending out over our current parking lot and over that auxiliary lot that the town put in.
Okay.
But then we are building kind of up along the railroad track a parking lot that houses, I think, up to 87 or 89
that's great.
cars. And it's wide enough for an emergency vehicle to get through.
Yeah.
I believe Super Park is still intending to put a space up on that Peralt property, which is 12 acres. So there's plenty of room.
Yeah.
But we're going to be laying groundwork for them to be able to go through, but they will have to add a separate parking lot for them because this is grant money. Our parking lot does have to be designated for library use only.
Sure.
As I've said, I'm unlikely to enforce it. I don't have the time. We want to be good
I know.
neighbors.
Yeah.
But if we are doing like a Friday night program, I just walk across the street and I say to Jay, hey, can you just ask patrons to be parking on your side tonight because we have something going on?
Oh, yeah, one hand washes
He's
the other.
always accommodating, and we don't say anything when he's got things going on. If we're not open, of course, people can park there. And yeah, we occasionally will put out a sign that says, really, we need to enforce it because it's Saturday and there's a ton of people at the Common, and we know.
Yeah. Beth, you were telling me about a lot of the programs at your library. What's going on?
Oh gosh, so summer reading is our theme this year nationally is a universe. Universe of stories. Your sweater actually reminds me of constellations, so you're keeping in the theme. We're celebrating 50 years of the moon landing in just a few weeks, right? So we've got a special lecture actually on July 20th. I don't remember. You'd have to look at our online calendar, graftonlibrary.org, click on events. If it's at our current location or if we're holding it at the municipal center and anticipating a bigger crowd. So everything is sort of space themed. So yesterday there were teens and preteens painting these yoga mats blue and then creating galaxies on them with white and purple and clouds and comets, and they were works of art.
Can you buy them?
These kids made them for themselves. It was just art for them.
Oh, cool.
I mean, I'll suggest that to our friends. Maybe they should do that as a program and sell some. They were
what kind of paint?
Gorgeous.
Acrylic?
Just some kind of acrylic paint. Our teen and children's librarian.
Aren't yoga mats usually rubber?
Yeah, whatever it was, it stuck and it had this really neat texture and and then they rolled them up and took them home. I think they're dry. They're going to spray them with something to keep the paint on, and then they're dry.
How many kids are in your university? I mean, here in Upton we've got that too. How many kids?
Yeah, so we usually don't even count until the end of the summer. And unlike some libraries, we don't make you register. So you come in and there you go. You're part of the program as soon as we hand you our summer reading event calendar.
Yeah.
What we do that's unique is we have a daily raffle. So you enter on the computer a raffle just for walking in the building. You get 2 entries if you're at a program, and 3 if you do food for fines and bring in a canned good donation.
Food for fines. I like that. If you owe a book, if you're a little late, just bring in a can of food.
Yeah, and we wipe out the fine and we give it to the food bank. So we're looking for, if you owe 50 cents, find a 50-cent can of beans and bring that in.
Yeah.
And
then, check the expiration date.
Yes, no expired things.
You don't want to give somebody a bad date canned food.
Yeah, we can't take. We just take people's words for it. They put it in the bin, and then we'll just double check it before. But we really want things that people can use. It helps our local food bank.
Yes.
And then in that event calendar is a sheet that says read to bead, and this is for all ages. So you can count your reading all summer in 15-minute increments or in, I think, 480-minute increments. So if you're an adult and you're reading a novel and it takes you 6 hours, there's your, I think, the equivalent, or 8 hours. But you come in and you turn that in for a bead. So a 15-minute bead is just a little plastic pony bead, but a 480-minute bead is a really nice glass bead. Yeah. We give you the chain to keep it on. And that's the incentive, to keep people reading. And then at the end of the summer, we do a drawing just for Grafton residents, because it is funded by our friends group, of all those raffle entries. So the more you come in and visit, the more programs you go to, the more chances you have to win the prizes, which are gift certificates, and you get to choose if that's to Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Mobile Gas or the grocery store. So we let our patrons pick. It's a really
I just wish, I don't know how many libraries that I've asked, but when are they going to have a summer reading program for grown-ups? And we get that little piece of paper with the lines.
We do. We do it for all ages. So you can earn beautiful glass beads at the Grafton Library.
Wait a minute, I can go over there and get earn something in which I read?
Yes, you can, Jan.
Well, if I read, it's usually...
I should have worn my necklace.
All right, so if you read books, the only time you get is like between midnight and 2 a.m., that's 2 hours. Okay, so how many beads would I get?
Well, it depends. So if you were doing 15-minute beads, you could say, I want my beads in 15-minute increments, so give me 8 beads. Or you can say, no, I'm gonna keep reading until I hit the hours to earn the 480-minute bead. But there's probably a 2-hour bead.
I could do that as an adult. We can do that.
Absolutely. And the beads get better the more you hold out. So the 15-minute bead, like I said, it's plastic pony bead, but the 30-minute bead, they might be shimmery. And then the 60-minute bead is shaped, so it might look like a train or a basketball. And then they get into metallic and glass.
Isn't it too late for us grown-ups to get them?
Nope.
When does it end?
August 30th, I think, Saturday, August 30th.
All right, so if I come over and say, hi, I'm going to sign up for the read program this summer, I'm not going to be the only grown-up looking like a kid?
Nope.
No?
Families usually do it together, but we'll hook you up. We'll give you the program.
This is so much fun.
Yeah, but we won't, like I said, if you don't live in Grafton, you're not eligible for the prize drawing. But
can't what?
You're not eligible for the prize drawing at the end of the summer.
That doesn't bother me.
But that doesn't even relate to how many books you read, because we don't want to make people feel bad about how much or little they're reading.
What if you're kind of a slow reader sometimes?
That's okay.
When you have like a pile?
Well, the other thing is, I really believe that all reading is good reading. So you could count listening to an audiobook.
Yeah. Oh, really?
You can count reading to somebody else. You could count reading in another language. Kids, I tell them, subtitled movies, anime movies, reading your video game instructions, reading a chat transcript. I think that's all good. I had a kid once, I said, I'll count whatever you read. And he said, all right, I read the cereal box for 15 minutes this morning. And I said, okay.
That's it?
Here's your bead. Yep.
If I read an expiration date on the eggs, maybe.
You got to add it up. 15 minutes is the first increment.
So. Beth, where did you go to learn library science?
I'm a graduate of Simmons College, now Simmons University.
Where is that?
In 1998, right in Boston on the Fenway.
And
I've lived in New England my whole life.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Danvers, Massachusetts. Danvers, as we say in Danvers.
And then you've got your 4-year degree.
4-year degree. Went to Bradford College, which has now closed, sadly, in Haverhill, Massachusetts. Yeah. And I volunteered at the library while I was a college student. And then I knew I was going on to library school because I loved my work-study job in the college library.
Did you know as a kid in high school, this is what I want to do?
No. I thought I would go into marine biology.
That's a leap.
I know. Well, it's still science. Library science is absolutely a science. It's taxonomy and it's organization.
You're good with numbers for the library book numbers?
Oh, I do decimal numbers. Yeah.
Was that hard to learn?
It was hard. There's a whole class on cataloging, but really it was the hands-on volunteering in a library and shelving books that really trained me in the Dewey Decimal System.
I've seen your volunteers over there helping out.
They're really great. There's some, we have a page, someone who was a volunteer who we ended up hiring as our first library page, and he's on the autism spectrum, and he is just meticulous with being able to find books that are requested and keeping everything on the shelf in Dewey Decimal.
How old do you have to be a helper, assistant?
Volunteer?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we follow state law, actually. So you can be just like what you can work if you have working papers when you're 14. You can volunteer when you're 14.
Wow. But how do you get working papers, though? How do you get at that age?
We wouldn't require them for volunteering, but that's a state law. That if you're 14, I think you go to the superintendent's office, usually the school department.
But only if you're going to get paid.
Yeah, only if you're going to get paid. But so we take 14-year-olds and they can work unsupervised. But if you're 13 and you want to volunteer, we'll take you if we have time to train you and if a parent or guardian will stay on premises. They don't have to volunteer. They just have to be present because they need to be supervising their minor.
I wish this was there when I was growing up because I would have loved it. And I think my mom would have had the patience to sit there. I know she would.
My first library job was when I was 14 years old.
Did you like it?
I loved it. I was a Girl Scout, and I had to do 200 hours of community service to earn my leadership.
Did you get bored with Girl Scouting, though?
I quit when everyone wanted to do the fashion, fitness, and makeup badge, and I wanted to go camping. So for that reason, because of makeup, I did not get my gold award. Because I quit. But I had to volunteer, and I volunteered at the library. My first job was cleaning the records. Every new record that came back, we sprayed it with this foam and cleaned both sides and let it dry, and then shelved it. And I shelved new fiction, and I got in trouble for reading when I was supposed to be putting the books away.
That's okay.
I don't read at work anymore. I don't have time.
No, you don't. You are a busy girl. What is your day like? What do you get there?
Sometimes it's I come in, and before I can even get to my desk, I'm walking around doing staff management, checking in and seeing what people need, and if there's somebody out, do we need to call a sub, schedule what's happening today, got desk coverage kind of stuff.
Do you get time for lunch?
I do. I usually do eat at my desk. Sometimes I read for 10 minutes at lunch.
What's the most challenging part of your day? Being a librarian, director.
Budget crunch can be hard. Keeping tabs of the budget to the minute, especially at the end of the fiscal year, is a really big challenge.
We got about 5 minutes left. Beth, how can they reach you again?
Oh, it is Gallaway B, Gallaway B for Beth, at graftonlibrary.org, or by phone 508-839-4649. Press 5. Or dial extension 1105.
Now, if they want to come over and meet you over at the Grafton Library, don't forget it's not where it's going to be redone. It's over on 140, heading for Shrewsbury, and that church used to be the Masonic Lodge beside it.
Yeah, and it's now Truth Organic Spa.
Right, and now you've got on the Trek bicycle place. Yeah. Okay, so the church is in the middle, and it doesn't look like a library, obviously, from the some people might probably have whizzed right by it.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So now if they want to come in and meet you and talk with you, maybe someone wants to volunteer. Grown-ups too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They would when are you there, all day long?
I usually work 9 to 5, but I have a lot of night meetings. Yeah. So sometimes I'm shifting my schedule to get to those night meetings. So it's always best to call and make an appointment. But when I am there, the first door as you come around the corner going down the corridor to the children's space, which was the fellowship hall.
That's it.
And if the door is open or the blind is up, feel free to knock and say
Beth,
hello.
you don't run any of the book groups. I know Heidi, she's great. She runs it. Do you? Because you'd be good at it, too.
I would love to, but that's just one of the things. I mean, the joke about being a director is your responsibilities are keeping your board happy and writing policy and keeping up with the budget and taking good care of the building, which they do not teach you in library school, and then another word that starts with B and ends in T, but really means taking care of everything else that's happening.
The only thing that I've always wondered about why more people haven't taken a dive is that doggone, when you go up to the second floor, that iron staircase, I'm thinking, geez, all it's going to take is I go like this, and bam, that won't be there anymore.
That will be gone.
That'll be good, because it's always bothered me.
It's a safety. It's not up to code.
I've seen the seniors going down that, and I'm thinking, oh my God. Or any of us, even the kids. All it takes is a little bit of a snow or water on your snow. Nothing's ever happened, though, right?
Thank God.
Thank God, no, God.
Yeah.
Well, this is great.
Yeah.
Come on over and visit the Grafton Library, where it's temporarily over where St. Andrews used to be in Grafton, and Beth is there.
I will say our hours are the same, so we're open Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., and then Friday and Saturday from 10 to 5. If you can't find parking, do a loop and come back. You can park at St. Mary's.
Or Trek. I know Heidi told, who told me?
So Trek and Truth are letting staff park there.
Okay.
And patrons can park at Trek Stop before about 11:30 a.m. So this will be really helpful for fall story time. You can park in the front, but you can't stay and visit if story time goes 10:15 to 11.
Sure.
You're not going to be able to stay and visit. You really do have to get your car out of there before you open. But St. Mary's Church, it's a little bit of a hike. I think it's 0.4 miles to walk, but you can park in their lot and then come down Waterville Street and cross right at the crosswalk.
Okay, yeah.
And we haven't checked in with Post Office Pub, but make a day of it. Go down and have lunch, and then park at Post Office Pub and walk over.
Yeah, St. Mary's is on Route 30 heading to Westboro.
Waterville Street.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's some options.
So, okay, before we close, give us a guesstimate as when this thing is going to start.
So I'm pretty sure that we are breaking ground sometime in September.
Okay.
It's about a 15-month project. They really wanted to get walls up and a roof by December, but that's looking a little iffy. But they will work through the winter to get it done.
They will.
So if we start in September, we take a year, 15 months, we should be finishing by December 2020. Our original timeline was actually to complete, we thought it was 16 to 18 months, and now we're hearing 15 months.
Yeah.
So if we do actually finish by December 2020, I'm hoping to have a grand reopening to celebrate the new year, 2021, in our new building.
That's going to be
Fingers
a lot
crossed.
of fun.
It will be.
Are you looking for, you got a lot
We'll have a program room. We could have a band. And there's plenty of parking. We could have a 16-piece jazz band.
Okay, so when authors come to speak there, you'll have a room for people now.
Yeah, we have a 117-seat meeting room.
Aha! All right.
Programs.
Beth, thank you for being with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
We're going to have her back. She's
Jan.
going to talk up this Grafton Library and go volunteer, and also here at the Upton Library. come on downstairs, stop in. If you got the kids, the universe reading
program. They're doing it too.
Yeah, and grown-ups can do it at Grafton.
We have a passport program, actually. I think Upton's participating. So there's a thing that you can get where you go to the Blackstone Valley Libraries and we'll stamp your passport for visiting other libraries. No ticket entry, but there's a separate raffle for that.
Okay, so I can go over to the Grafton Library and say, I'm joining the universe book reading thing that the kids are doing.
Universe of Stories.
I love it.
Please come.
Okay. Thank you, Beth.
You're welcome.
All right. See you next time.
Thank you.
Riding on a shooting star,